I'm Drew Duncan,
I'm Dan Heaps.
and let's be real for a moment. I started my personal development journey in 2019 when going through a divorce. And divorce has this incredible way of allowing you to become the person that your ex-spouse always wanted you to be. I don't know why it happens. It happens to the majority of my friends that have been through that in their life. They become the person their spouse always wanted them to be.
You just needed that weight gone is all.
I did. I lost about 120 pounds overnight. This is the greatest weight loss journey I ever had.
Can't beat that.
We didn't get along for a long time. So a little bit of the backstory. We didn't get along for a while. It was imminent. We knew it was coming. We are great friends and great co-parents now. And we were able to work all of that out. But that's kind of where my personal development journey started, was in my divorce. And I really didn't know where to turn. I didn't know what to do. I just knew that I didn't like the way that I felt. I became a sponge for anything that I could absorb around me that would help me along that journey. I didn't even know what the journey was. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to not be the way that I had always been. I turned to podcasts and started reading. I read a lot whenever I was younger and kind of stopped doing that whenever I was a police officer. If it wasn't case law, I probably wasn't going to read it. And I spent quite a bit of time. I mean, this was in 2019, so I've spent since that time working on this. I found a podcast on iTunes that it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast that was for your motivation or your mindset, if you will. And I listened to that religiously on my commute to work. I fell in love with that podcast and several others because of it. I picked up books that I heard about from these podcasts, and I just jumped into these books and learned everything that I could. I tried everything that I could find to try to be better, try to feel better, because I didn't know what to do. I had never been there before. I'd never worked on myself. And I spent 2 years in counseling to try to better myself, try to figure out what I was doing wrong, and at least put myself in an environment with someone that asked the right question. Throughout that journey, I realized that I'd had a victim mindset my whole life, and that was my problem. I had to stop looking at the world as if it was happening unto me and look at the world as if it was happening because of me, because that is the reality of it. Very few people take this journey, because the first process in it, just like Alcoholics Anonymous, is you have to admit to yourself that you have a problem. Because if you can't admit that you have a problem, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't come up with a solution without knowing what the problem is. And I wanted to have this podcast because if I could reach one person in the world, if we just had that listener that tuned in, and this could do something to change their life the way that my personal development journey has changed my life and helped me become who I am today, then this is all worth it. I'll spend hours a week recording these podcasts because I want someone else to experience this. I want them to know that there's another side to what they're feeling right now, because there really is, and it's much greater than anything you could ever imagine for your life before that.
My journey is quite similar. Back in 2019 as well, I was 21 at the time, and I was going through my own divorce, where I was forward deployed in the Navy at the time, and I got Dear Jody by my wife, which is always a fun circumstance to come home to. And I didn't really know what to do with my life at that point. I turned to alcohol and stopped working out, and just made a lot of excuses and fell behind in my life. And I was searching for in myself what it is to be a man. And I spent a lot of time thinking on what that means to me and where that goal looked like to me. So that's where I started my journey after I parted ways with my ex-spouse. I started really working on myself. I lost 60 pounds in about 2.5 months from either crazy diets, I guess, but really just focused on my own health and really focusing on building myself back up to where I wanted to be. Not somewhere I'd been before, but where I wanted to be as a man and as a person. So I lost all this weight, and I got really into reading books instead of watching YouTube videos or just mindless numbing Netflix and TV. I really turned to stuff that could actually help promote me in my life. I bought about 20 books off Amazon. Like, I remember that $235 order on Amazon, and all the books getting delivered and people laughing at me. And then I just sit there and read them all. And I took so many notes, and a lot of those quotes and notes and thoughts I had taken at the time, I still use today. And I wanted to use this podcast as a way to share those for people who are stuck in those times where they don't know where to turn, or they're finding themselves in a rut. I want to share this real testimony and these real truths with people who are looking for something real. Because if we're being honest, we have not made it. We are still on our journey. We are not at the top.
And that's the point.
Yeah,
that's the point of this podcast is we're not there. And the whole lie that you're behind personal development is one day you can become the person you want to be. But if you ever reach a point that you feel like you've become the person that you want to be and you don't need to do anything else, you're going to revert to those old ways. This is hard work. It's something you have to do every single day with every decision that you make.
If your goal is, say, I want to make X money, or I want X assets in my life, if you or when you get there, you're gonna realize that it's no longer going to fulfill you. You're going to make it, and then you're going to want more. Your real goal in life, you should want to be a better person today than you were yesterday. That is my current goal in life. And we just want to be out on this podcast and be real with all of our listeners. Because if I'm being honest, I snoozed my alarm 4 times this morning before I got up. I did not get up to work out today. I didn't get up to read my books. I was running late out the door to work. And I'm just being real. I'm not there.
It sets the tone for your whole day when that happens too. Like you feel it all day long that, like, man, I should have got up and did that. I should have. It was a very easy task for me to just keep my morning routine.
Right. 20 minutes of extra non-quality sleep to put myself hours behind in my day. So we just want to be real with all of you listening. That's going to be the tone of this podcast. Is we're just being honest with our own journeys to self-development, and we'd like to share what we've learned so far and to share what we plan to learn on the way. It is an uphill battle, but you will reach peaks. We will get on top of hills and see amazing views ahead, and we'll also fall off cliffs. And we've been there, and I know I don't plan to in the future, but I know I will. It's just inevitable, but we want to start something to affect change in ourselves and others. And we're here to climb these peaks and hills and fall down cliffs together. So like, share, sub, and next time we'll hope to be a little bit better and a little more real.